funny. So, I mean, are we going to call her a comedian? I don't even understand. What is she? What does she do?
Well, like everybody else, and I'll let Matt weigh in on Kathy Griffin as well, even though we have Deborah messing around too. They start out as funny many, many years ago, many decades ago. And then they slowly morph into this unfunny, unentertaining political platform. And we're going to see it further down the bracket as well. But Matt, I know that you are the purveyor and the creator of the Sharpton scale of buffoonery. Where, in your mind, does Kathy Griffin lie on this scale?
Oh, I hate to burst your bubble on this one. She may be a really good candidate for this year, but on the all-time scale of, say, like an Anthony Weiner, not quite there yet. I agree with you that she's got a really, really, really strong case this year. Again, like I said before, this is not going to shock you when I say this, that I'm not a fan of the current administration. I didn't vote for President Trump. But what you heard me say there was the way it should be. He's President Trump. Back when President Obama was president of the United States, I always made sure, and it always disappointed me when people from the Republican Party and people from the far right always, disrespected his title and disrespected who it was. He's president of the United States regardless of whether I voted for him, and he's deserving of that respect. And what I really hate about what's going on right now is that, last year we heard at the Democratic convention, Michelle Obama saying, hey, they go low, we go high. Well, obviously it's not the truth, because all the times they called Republicans out for being disrespectful of President Obama, of being rude to President Obama, of not respecting President Obama's title. Well, now the shoe's on the other foot, and they're doing exactly the same things. And it's really, 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 really disappointing, but also the essence of buffoonishness. And Kathy Griffin, what she did was just, the fact that she's wondering why she's in the position she's in right now. It's mind-boggling in a way, but at the same time, though, it's just very buffoonish. And I think, Deborah Messing did some things this year. Sure, whatever. Fine. Okay, fine. We talked about Deborah Messing, but Kathy Griffin,
I gotta be honest. Deborah, let's not dismiss Deborah Messing. I know she's not worth 5 reallys that Matt gave to Kathy Griffin, but Deborah Messing, if you're on the Twitters, she is one of the most annoying people that you'll hear about out there. I mean, even Susan Sarandon got into a fight with her and compared her to Donald Trump, and then flew off. But this woman, she's the ultimate foot and mouth disease, She will just say tons of things that are just... The biggest one coming most recently, where she claimed, to the surprise of many who care, she's like 5 people, that she was canceling her New York Times subscription because it actually did a story on Ben Shapiro and didn't portray him like a, quote, Nazi, which she claims that Ben Shapiro is. Jewish conservative, wears the yarmulke and everything, is a Nazi and has to be portrayed that way. So, I think we're all voting for Kathy Griffin in this one, and that may be true, but Deborah Messing's buffoonery this year deserves a second look. That's all I'm going to say.
I have a question for both of you guys, and going back to Griffin for a second. I mean, the photos, and I don't want to beat this to death, but the photos of her holding a beheaded President Trump, right? She didn't just take those photos as selfies and tweet them out herself. There were people that were photographers. She has accountants, I'm sure, lawyers, I'm sure, publicists. So as a couple of lawyers, for those of you guys who don't know, Gene and Matt are both attorneys.
Yes,
I'm sure people come and ask, people ask you for advice all the time. I find it hard to believe that no one stopped those photos from going out or said, hey, Kathy, that doesn't look like a good idea to me. Like, how could that have happened?
It's the Hollywood bubble.
If she had asked me for my legal advice, I would have advised her that the First Amendment provides her with a complete and total defense to anything that she did. She has the absolute right to do that. She has the absolute right to put that all together, and no one can ever sue her or stop her or do anything else to stop her because her First Amendment rights are absolute. Now, that doesn't mean it's an actually good idea. But that's the problem with the First Amendment, in that for so many people, the First Amendment has become, well, I have the right to speak and you have to accept what I say. And that's not what the First Amendment says. The First Amendment says you have the right to speak and the government can't stop you. But that doesn't mean the rest of us can't call you an idiot afterwards.
Absolutely. And it's also I'm going to let Matt take the legal end because he does that so much better than I do. But it's also the Hollywood bubble. Everyone in Hollywood will protect me because we all hate Trump. It's artsy. It's edgy. I won't have any sort of negative feedback from this. Not me. I'm Kathy Griffin.
Well, Well, what we saw with Hollywood this year and Harvey Weinstein is the number one exhibit for that, is that you will get away with it until you are no longer profitable, or until everyone looks at it and says, oh, now I'm going to lose money. And that's what happened here. You know, Kathy Griffin found out that, oh, okay, no one's going to pay to see you in something, or, you know, people are going to actively change the channel if I see you on the screen. Well, guess what? Adios, lady.
The free market in action. The other side of the bracket, the number 2 and 3 matchup, Jimmy Kimmel versus Lena Dunham. Now, this is one where Matt and I butted heads a lot, actually. We actually had to sub in Lena Dunham as a last-minute replacement, because the other pick, and honestly, I don't even remember who it was at this point, he just didn't feel met the standards. But let's go through the matchup. Jimmy Kimmel, of course, you know, late-night television host. And again, this goes back to what I was saying before about Kathy Griffin. At one time, I thought Jimmy Kimmel was pretty funny. Crude humor, yes, but he was entertaining. I put on The Man Show on Comedy Central. Why not? I'll watch it. But then he starts getting, you know, the late night show on ABC, and he got a little thinner and more Hollywood style, you know. And of course, he now has to speak out against, only what he wants to speak out against. He'll speak out against the Las Vegas shooting, and, you know, he'll stand on the bodies that are still warm on that night and shame gun owners. But he won't do it to Harvey Weinstein when the decades of sexual misconduct came out. And then he says, well, I'm not the moral conscience of America. I can choose and pick and choose what I want to talk about. Yeah, you can, but that's called hypocrisy. If you want to be on a soapbox, be on a soapbox. Just don't half-ass it. You're a buffoon for doing so, and you're showing just how, you know, biased you are to the whole situation. Russ, Jimmy Kimmel, do you ever watch the show?
Gene, Jimmy Kimmel. So you mentioned The Man Show. I used to be a big fan of that show. This guy can never be the moral compass of anything. I mean, do you remember how every show ended on The Man Show? Do you remember what the ending was when the credits rolled?
On trampolines.
Girls jumping on trampolines. Scantily clothed young ladies jumping on trampolines. So this guy is full of it, and he's a piece of garbage too. He should have kept to, you know, peddling that filth, because it was much more funny and much more believable. When he goes on TV and cries about his infant child who was ill and needed medical attention, listen, that was a borderline fake crying, I want to say. And I know that you guys are probably going to disagree with me on this one, but the guy's a millionaire, and what he was saying should have happened. Like, no matter your ability to pay or not, they should get medical treatment and no baby should die. I don't know where he's been, but that is America. If you bring a baby into a hospital right now, that baby's getting treated whether or not you have an insurance card in your pocket. So this guy is the ultimate in hypocrisy.
I dare not say the ultimate, because we have to talk about Lena Dunham. And
By the way, Gene, please read the first sentence. I don't know if you have it open in front of you. The way you describe Lena Dunham, it almost makes me want to vote for her for the whole thing, because I love the opening sentence.
Yes, Lena Dunham is an atrocious human being.
That was it. I was like, he needs to write nothing more. That was perfect.
Well, why is she an atrocious human being? And I'll go to Matt with this. She starts the year criticizing white women who voted for Trump. And comparing Donald Trump to Dylan Roof, the mass murderer of the church in, I believe it was North Carolina. But then she deleted that tweet. You want to talk about Trump derangement syndrome that Russ brought up? Wow. She's got it in spades. But then she'll turn around and, in her book, make up a fake rape story that people say is unsubstantiated. She'll defend a writer on her show that she's an executive producer of who's been accused of rape and then recant it. And basically, you know, there was an article that came out in the New York Post last week or 2 weeks ago by now, I think it was, basically calling her a narcissist who possesses no intellectual rigor. Yeah, that's called a buffoon. Matt, do you have anything to add on Lena Dunham? I know that you were quick to jump at putting her back in the bracket.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the year of anything where Hollywood is going to be shown for the hypocrites that they are. You know, for years, you know, everyone always said, why are you upset with people making political speeches during the Oscars? Why are you upset with people making political speeches at award shows? Why are you upset with Hollywood having these political ideals and telling us how we should live? It's because look around. We found out just what complete hypocrites you are. And it's not just Harvey Weinstein. It's not just Kevin Spacey. It's not just everyone else. It's not just, you know, if you really want to dig down into it, it's not just Corey Feldman and the pedophilia that's run rampant throughout Hollywood with child actors that was hushed up, that was covered up, and that everyone knew about. And Lena Dunham is pretty much, you know, the poster girl for all of it, in that everyone should do what she say and everyone should live the life that she thinks should be lived until it actually comes back to haunt her, until it actually comes back to haunt a writer on her show, until it actually comes back to people actually saying, you know what, I don't want to listen to you anymore because of what you have espoused politically. You know, she wants the right to have a political view, but doesn't want the consequences, and she doesn't want any of that. And it's just buffoonery. I've actually watched, I think of the three of us, I'm probably the only one of us who's ever watched episodes of Girls. Not many. But you really get an idea of who she is just by the whole world she created of people who want things but don't want to work for them, and they want growth without the struggle. And, you know, so Lena's she claims to be the voice of a generation, and sadly, maybe she is.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Matt Fairley watches Girls.
Yeah,
actually,
you're on that limb on your own.
Out of the three of us, you might not be the only one who's ever watched it, but you're definitely the only one of the three of us that would admit to it. That's for sure.
I've never watched it. I know what you're trying to do.
Being a buffoonologist means you have to go to some really, really scary places from time to time.
All right, well, take me to a scary place now. Pick me a winner in this matchup. Matt, you go first.
I'm picking Lena Dunham. I think, you know, she's really she brought her A game this year. She really brought her A game.
Russ?
Even though I kind of agree with Matt that Lena Dunham, she really did bring her game this year. I don't know, Jimmy Kimmel, from the man show to what he's trying to be now, the ultimate in hypocrisy, I have to go with Kimmel. I have to. I'm
torn on this one, guys. I really am. But I'm leaning more towards Kimmel, only because he's got the higher profile this year. Because of what happened in Las Vegas, what happened afterwards with his statements, and then the hypocrisy with Harvey Weinstein and all that. So I think I'm going with Kimmel on that one. But folks, don't listen to our picks. You do your own picks, all right? Go to www.BehindEnemyLinesRadio.us. Check out the brackets, vote, and let us know. You got a week to do it. Next week, we'll announce the winners, and we'll set up the next matchups. The wild card bracket. And we're running a little short on time, so we're going to run through these. They merit attention, folks, believe me. And, I'll try to do as much on the edit to give them as much time as possible here. But this is the bracket of everybody that couldn't fit into the nice, neat category of, media, entertainment, politics. It's sort of the potpourri, if you will, of buffoonery. And getting right into the matchups, the number 1 seed is the NFL. The number 4 seed is Professor Michael Isaacson of John Jay University. We'll get into his story in a second. But folks, when we talk about the NFL, we're talking about the whole NFL. We're not just talking about the players kneeling during the national anthem. We're not just talking about the protests. We're not talking just about the concussion protocols or, the Roger Goodell's response to the kneeling. It's the whole kit and caboodle. Owners, management, players, they're all thrown in there. And the NFL is basically killing itself right now. Its ratings are down. The last Thursday night game that had the Cowboys and Redskins, down 25% from the Cowboy game a year ago at the same time. The protesting I don't even know what we're protesting for anymore. Is it police brutality? Is it President Trump? Is it minority issues? We don't even know. It's still going on. Goodell can't get control of it, but thinks he is owed a private jet. Matt, you still watch the NFL. What the heck is going on here?
Okay, I want to clarify something. I am hate watching the NFL at this point because I am a New York Giants fan. As many people in New York are, and we're just having such an atrocious season. So I'm going to vote for the NFL just because my team's losing. But the problem is that it's a league that has just accepted that, everyone loves us and we're number one, and they never realize that, at some point you have to deal with your viewers. At some point you have to deal with giving the viewers what you want. You can't just take it for granted. You can't take for granted that people are still going to care no matter what you do. And they got caught with their pants down this year. It was really a perfect storm. I don't have any problem with the people kneeling. That's fine. That's their choice. I don't agree with it, but it's their choice. But at the end of the day, the incoherence of both, what the players are kneeling for versus what the owners want to do with it, and then it's back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. If you could have a conversation like a mature adult, maybe you could actually get ahead and say, hey, let's go back to doing what we want to do, which is what our fans want us to do is, and what our fans pay hundreds of dollars for their tickets to do is play a football game. And that's what they want, but they're doing everything except that.
And that's the biggest problem. Russ, I'm going over to you now, because you are a graduate of the school of the professor we're going to be talking about. Michael Isaac tweeted out that he First of all, he says he's a self-described member of Antifa, whatever the hell that means. I don't know if they're claiming him, not claiming him, whatever. But he tweeted out that he is happy to be teaching, quote, future dead cops at John Jay. That's how he refers to his students on social media, by the way, folks. And he got suspended as a result of this. He was on Tucker Carlson, did a whole media tour on this whole thing, blamed Bill de Blasio for not allowing John Jay to be independent, running its school, even though the school basically denounced him. And then he got exposed as, well, maybe he doesn't like authority so much on the streets, but in the bed, he does. And I guess we'll leave it at that. But if you ever wanted to post a child for higher education in America, or, you know, the liberal bent of it, look no further than this guy. Russ, this is your school. Defend it.
Oh, there's no defense for John Jay. I mean, John Jay's full name is John Jay College